We are here, we are determined, and we won't stop protesting. They always said that we are the generation of TikTok, of social media, of Instagram, but that's not the case.
For weeks now, thousands of people have been protesting against the government in Albania. The media is calling these the biggest protests in the country's history, and the leading movement is Albania's Gen Z. This story is about a law. It's about the daughter of US President Donald Trump. And yes, it's also about flamingos. Sounds strange, right? It'll all make sense in the next minutes. This is Ardi. He's 26 and lives in Tirana, Albania's capital. During the day, he works at a bank. At night, he protests. Ardi brings us with him to a demonstration and the protected nature reserve where it all began. It's Friday, day 41 of the protests. We meet Ardi and his girlfriend Stella at home as they get ready for another demonstration.
Thank you. I'm gonna try to smoothen the edges here a little bit.
This is gonna be just like the ID page of a passport, but instead of name, surname, date of birth, we're putting like
the country's description, like corruption is high. I'm thinking of going ahead at the protest, and then I'll meet you there with this. Done?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. The current government has promised us the European entrance and passport by 2030, and it's all a facade.
The protesters want a new Albania with a new political class, and they want Prime Minister Edi Rama to step down. Rama has been in power since 2013 and has faced criticism for years, long before these current protests began. At first glance, Albania seems to be doing well. Tourism is booming and the economy has been growing faster than in many other Balkan countries. But experts accuse the government of corruption. Albania ranks 91st on the International Corruption Index, making it one of the most corrupt countries in Europe. At the same time, the country is working to move closer to the European Union. Albania has been an official EU candidate since 2014, but the effects of decades of communist dictatorship, which lasted until 1990, can still be felt today, including in these protests. For many people, speaking out like this feels like breaking a long-standing taboo.
So right now we're going towards the city center next to the Skanderbeg statue. That's the meetup point that has been there for a while. I'm going to probably meet up with a couple of friends there. That's where most of them are at. Most of the people that are already there now have created sort of friendships.
Every evening since May 31st of 2026, protesters have gathered here before marching together to the government headquarters. Over the past few weeks, tens of thousands of people have shown up in a city with only around 400,000 residents. So what are these protests actually about? It all started with a law amendment back in 2024. The changed law allows so-called strategic investments and luxury hotels, as well as any necessary infrastructure to be built even inside protected nature reserves. Then, in May 2026, construction work suddenly began near a protected wetland that is an important breeding area for flamingos. Reports say dunes here have already been destroyed. A luxury resort is planned there, a project backed by Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. This is where the first protests began. But on May 30th, things escalated. A protester was beaten by private security guards. Ardi was there. But we'll come back to that later. Footage of the situation spread across the country and became the spark for what is now known as the Flamingo Revolution. Since then, Ardi has taken to the streets every single day.
We have broken all the taboos. We have redefined what it means to protest. And there's a multitude of people, and there is still a sort of terror upon them. And that's why it's a revolution, because people now are coming out protesting with their faces. We're not scared of being recorded. We're not scared of showing and being honest that the things are not doing well right now. That's why it's called a revolution. So Shqipëria is a chant basically asking for a new Albania.
Albania is not for sale. And your time is up, Edi Rama. These are the chants you hear everywhere here. Ardi's girlfriend, Stella, has joined as well. Together, they march through the city as more and more people join in. We also wanted to hear from other protesters why they came out today.
We cannot find ourselves as youngsters. We don't just want, empty promises. This is what has been conducted in Albania for at least more than 30 years, and we're totally fed up with this kind of model. We want a new Albania, literally.
We are tired about this government. To see Prime Minister who stole money for many investments.
I'm very proud that we showed the world, basically, that we can protest in a peaceful way and that we will never give up. 40 days is a long time. We've not given up yet, and we will not give up until our demands are met.
The next day, we travel with Ardi to Vjosa Narta National Park, about 2.5 hours from the capital. This is where the protests began. This is where the flamingos live. The area became internationally known primarily because of Ivanka Trump, specifically after a famous interview that went viral around the world.
We were on a friend's boat and we stopped for a swim. Effectively, that's how we found it. We swam to the islands. We went on a hike, barefoot all the way up to the top, and we were just captivated.
The island she talks about in that interview is called Sazan. It's one of Albania's only larger islands. During a visit to Albania, the billionaire's daughter and her husband, Jared Kushner, reportedly fell in love with the area. Now they want to build a luxury resort there. This is where the protected nature reserve comes into play. Vjosa Narta National Park sits right on the coast. In the middle of it is the Narta Lagoon, one of the most important ecosystems in the entire Mediterranean. More than 200 bird species live here, flamingos included. Right next to the lagoon is Zvernec Beach. According to the Trump-Kushner plans, this is exactly where part of the luxury resort would be built. When construction work started and private security companies put up fences, environmental activists took action. They're fighting for environmental protection of the area and demanded more transparency about the development and construction plans.
So before the project or the development was even started, there was no road at all here. They came in and they made sure to prepare at least the terrain for the heavy machinery to continue the work. This was the area where the private police and their fences were up. And this is the area where the private security company threw us pepper spray when we were protesting, after one of the protesters was hit and dragged right about over there. There is some debris still left by the company. They've cut it and they removed it.
What is currently happening in Albania is being interpreted in many different ways. This is also because official construction and financial plans have not been made available to the public. That is precisely why pressure on Edi Rama and his government continues to grow. Concerns are also being raised in Brussels, with several members of the European Parliament having visited the protests. In an interview in early July, Rama responded to questions about the construction project with clear words.
There is no privatization of public space. Simple. There is not. It's a lie. My fight is to bring in Albania foreign direct investment. My fight is to make happen developments that will be absolutely not simply great for Albania, but will be a gift to Europe.
I want to emphasize this as we as Albanian people are not against investment, we're not against development. We just want to make sure that first and foremost the environment is not being hurt.
What will happen with the luxury resort is still unclear. But for Ardi, one thing is certain. He'll keep protesting for change in his country and for the future of his generation.
I will be protesting every day until the resignation of Edi Rama. It definitely is something that we as a generation have broken as a taboo. There's been a lot of taboo surrounding us as a generation, basically stating that we don't protest and we don't do anything. I think it's beautiful. This has never been done in the history of Albania.